I'll show my screen so that everyone can have access to it. Please, if your mic is on, kindly mute your mic. Kindly mute your microphone, please. If you are joining us, kindly mute your microphone. Thank you. I'm trying to project my screen so that everybody can see. All right, here we go. So, can everybody see my screen? Somebody confirm. Can you see my screen?
Yes. Yes.
All right. So let's just begin. Like we were discussing, chit-chatting earlier on, we said Slack is basically a communication and collaboration tool. It's a communication and collaboration tool that enables a free flow of communication between people of the same organization. I'm trying to use the simplest word so that we don't get so technical. It's basically a communication and collaboration tool that is used between people of the same of the same organization. However, it can also serve as a communication tool between people of different organizations. Slack basically has preferences. Let me begin with this. Team roles. I'll begin with team roles. Can we all see this? Can we see what I'm showing us?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So the first thing you need to know is when you register or you sign up for Slack, it is assumed that you are using Slack for your personal business or your personal brand. And as such, you cannot work alone on Slack. That is the general assumption. So it is expected that anyone opening Slack is either opening it as a personal brand or the person is opening it as a business. And when you eventually open your Slack, that is when you're required to add people that are referred to as team members. So the person who opens a Slack actually opens what is called a workplace. And when you open your workplace, that very person who signed up for that workplace is called workspace. It's called a workspace owner. In other words, this person is the owner of that business or is the owner of the administrative right, and he has the major control over everything in that Slack as far as that Slack is concerned. So he can do some background settings that restricts others from having access to things. Now, this person, however, can also dedicate ownership to other persons who can also become the same workspace owner as himself. They will have the same right as himself. However, one thing differentiates them and the major person who opened up this Slack. And what is it that differentiates them? The original person that's opened up this workspace is the only person that can delete that very Slack space. Every other person that this first person adds as Slack owner can also have the same right as him who opened it, but they cannot delete the Slack workspace. That is just the major difference. Now, this is like an advanced level. You know, when you join a WhatsApp group, for instance, the person who opened the group is the owner of the group, the creator per se. But under WhatsApp settings, you see the person as an admin. The person can also add other people as admin. Are we together? Now, but in this case, Slack gives priority to the person who opened that space, in that you can actually give people every other right as yourself. But the difference is that you cannot delete that workspace, which is the Slack that was opened by this particular person. The reason is so that in the absence of the original owner of the Slack group, there will not be so much restrictions placed on the members of the group, especially when the original owner goes on vacation or resigns, for instance, resigns from the company. Another person can take up the role of the CEO and still have the overall access to the workings of the company. The only difference is that you cannot delete that workplace. The second thing is workspace admin. Workspace admin is more like another person who has administrative rights, and he controls the numbers in the groups. He has access to all the channels and all the controls, all the preferences of everything, every group particularly, that an admin has a right to. He controls who has access to what group or what channel per se in terms of Slack workspace. So the admin controls numbers basically. Now the members of the group are people who are added. Of course, the admin is also added. The member of the group have access to the channel that the admin or the owners permit them to have access to. So if there is a public group, for instance, a member of a particular workspace is assumed to be the staff of that particular organization. Remember I said when you open a workspace or when you open a Slack, you sign up for a Slack, you are opening it as a personal brand or a business owner. So when you're adding people, it is assumed that you are adding your staff, your team members into that Slack. So those you add have prescribed access to the channel or the restriction you give them. So the restriction you give to an admin is different from the restriction you give to a staff. It's just like in the normal regular company where most of us work. You can be working as a supervisor. The role of a supervisor is different from the role of a contract staff or a staff. I hope you get the point. So that is basically how it is. All these are just hierarchies. The same thing comes down to this multi-channel guests. This one boils down to people who are invited mostly but are not part of the organization. Probably you have a guest who you want to come and teach you, for instance, but it's not part of your organization. You could invite the person and give the person access to only some certain level of channels that you have created in the Slack. So the difference between this multi-channel guest and this single channel guest is that the multi-channel guest has access to more than one channel in that Slack space. However, the person is not part of the organization, he is a guest. The single channel guest has just the access to only one channel, either that the admin have given them right to or that the owners have given them right to. So these are basically the hierarchy that we have in Slack. Excuse me, please permit me to give access to somebody who just joined. All right, so we return to we return to the Slack. I hope you can still see my screen. Sorry, can we still see the screen? All right, so
yes,
so under team roles, still they have higher level of hierarchy for team roles. Now this level is basically for as you all know, Slack has paid version and it has free version, and even under the paid version it have different categories of paid version. There are some paid versions that are for enterprises, there are paid versions that are for small businesses. So this particular paid version are for higher level of enterprises, and under that team roles for enterprises we have this org means organization, like larger organization. So we have larger organization owners and larger organization admins. They are basically the same as the one we just discussed, but the difference is that these ones are for larger organizations while the other ones are for smaller organizations. So that's for this. Now under membership, I'm trying to take my time to break down this hierarchy so that we don't get lost on the way. Under members are assumed as people who are staff of a particular organization or a company. So these are the access that members have to the particular workspace on Slack. Members of a company or organization has the access to make announcements in all the channels they belong to, provided it's a channel that they have access to. Because when you talk about channels, it's the same thing as what we call WhatsApp groups. So channels are more like departments where you belong to. And while we have more, public channels, we also have private channels. So somebody who, say for instance, there's a channel dedicated to, just like we have on our own Slack here, you can see we have general, we have random, we have workplace. So consider this as departments in your various offices. We could have HR department, we could have finance department, we could have, marketing department, sales department, and the rest of them. And these various departments have their own level of permissions. So somebody in finance department who has nothing to do with sales department is not expected to be in the group of sales. So except if it is a public group, then members can have access to it. But if it's a private group, you won't have access to it. We'll come down to that shortly. So for members of a particular Slack organization, you have the right to make announcements in all the group that you belong to. You have right to set reminders in any group you belong to. You have right to create public channels and to create private channels. So these are some of the things that members have access to. Also, members have access to join any public group at all. As far as the workspace is concerned, any channel that is created and was created with the public right, any member of that organization who is in that Slack workspace can actually join the group. Members can also send messages to all the groups that they belong to. Members can upload files, and they could mark the word, they could delete messages that they created if the admin or the owners gave them the right to. So if the original person who opened the workspace did not permit anybody to delete messages that are posted in public groups, then you might post, but you might not be able to delete. So that is that for the various hierarchies of members of a particular workspace. So this is the interface of our Slack. When you open up your Slack, or when you sign up for Slack newly, I want to believe everybody already knows how to sign up for Slack. Just go to slack.com and then you sign up, and then we follow the procedures. You find yourself here. When you sign up, you only find one channel, which is this general channel. This general channel is also the channel that everybody who joins your Slack workspace would stumble on. So if you send the link to this very Slack workspace out, and anybody joins via the original link that was set up when the first person who created this Slack workspace created it. That is that first link that you are given when you created your Slack. Anybody that joins through that workspace, or through that link rather, will find themselves in this group. That is why if you look at the various channels, let me quickly show us something. If you look at the various channels, follow my mouse, you see that here we have 146 persons who are in this very general group. But if you check other channels like random, you will find 145, which means there is somebody in the general group who has not joined this random group. If you check the workplace, you will find that there are 145 people as well. If you check if you check announcements, you see that there are 140 persons. You check training room, you see that there are just 139 people there, which means that when anybody comes to join this very workspace for the very first time using the original link that was created alongside the original registration of Slack for this very workspace, the person will arrive here. Are we together? However, if after creating other channels, because each channel has their own link, you go ahead to send the link of that particular channel. Say for instance, I created announcements. I did create announcements on this workspace, and then I can decide to send the link of announcement out. Anybody joining will eventually join the announcement group. but also will find themselves in a general group. So that is basically that for joining the Slack. Now, we look at the Slack interface. We'll begin with the very top here. You see where my mouse is? This is the hamburger sign here. This is what is called the menu. And this holds the majority of everything that Slack operates on. If you are able to understand everything in this menu, you are basically good to go with everything concerning Slack. So we'll quickly come back to that later on. Now under this very top bar here, we can see other things like, you can see this arrow here. This arrow pointing back simply means what it says, going back to what you were doing before. Forward arrow also does the same thing. History here, when you click, this is history. This thing that looks like a clock is history. It basically shows you what you have been doing on Slack and shows you the 5 major channels that you have already worked on in the past, and gives you just the same thing as your browser history. Once you click on history, it gives you the memory of everything that you've been working on. As far as you're working on it, you want to see more, you click on show more. Under this very bar here, we can see this is where we search for anything that we have been given access to. So if we are restricted from searching some particular thing by the owner of the group, if you search those things here, you might not find them. But outside that, every other thing you have access to, as far as this workspace is concerned, if you search them in this group, in this search bar, you will find them. You can either search by the name of the channel, or if you know exactly what it is you're searching for, or you want to search by filters, you can search by messages, by files, by channels, by people. Whatever it is, just type it in there, you get it out. The next thing is this is the help center. You need it to communicate with Slack, or you need some help as far as Slack is concerned. You come here, you click on it, you navigate through the help space. Under here we have our profile. We'll still come back to all this. I'm just trying to take us through the whole interface. Under here we have our profile. Once you click on it, your profile pops up, and then you have access to your name, your present visibility status, whether it's active or away. You can reset that. You want to update your status, just the way we do that with our WhatsApp statuses. You can always do that. You want to set yourself, as you can see right here, you are presently active, and once you are active here, you will find, follow my mouse, the cursor, you find that on my name here, you see that it is green. So all these persons like LC that I'm seeing here, Ifeyinwa Okonkwo, all those persons are not online. That is why you can't find this green color here. So the same thing applies here. If I turn this away, it will probably take me to the position of this person. So you can pause notification if you're tired of the notifications you're getting from your mobile Slack or your desktop Slack. You can decide to pause the notification to whenever time that pleases you. You can also edit your profile. Like I said, we'll run through all this in no time from now. You can work on your profile to edit it. You can set preferences. You can check out the things that you have downloaded. For instance, I posted these images in the announcement group, so you can always download it, and then whenever you want to come back to your Slack, you can always come down here to check out the downloads, the things you have downloaded from Slack, whether audios, videos, or images. You'll find them under here. And then of course, if you want to sign out, you can always sign out from your Slack. Signing out doesn't mean you are totally out of the group. If you sign in again, you find yourself in this very Slack. So that is that for this. And then of course, under the second bar here, you always find up here the number of persons who are in the group, a particular channel. Groups are called channel under Slack terminology. So whatever channel you click on, right now I'm on announcement channel. If I want to know the people in the group, I come to the right edge here. Once I click on them, their names would pop up, and then I can decide to talk to any of them if I want to, or I want to get a notification of a place where my name was mentioned. I want to learn something about the channel. You click on about, you get details of the channel. You want to check out the members of the channel. You want to see the apps that have been integrated into this particular channel. That's what we find here. And then of course, the settings of the channel. Now there's something I quickly want to talk about before we go into the details of the various workings of the Slack. Yes, can you hear me?
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, sorry for cutting you. Please, is this tutorial recorded?
Not recorded.
Can we record it, please, so that
No.
at least we can go back to it? No, it's not possible.
On Google Meet, it's not possible to record. But I'll try. I'll see what I can do. I'll try and see what I can do if I can record with some other applications I have on my phone, on my PC.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So we quickly jump back to this. Right here. If you look here, if you look at this group here, these channels here, you see under general, all you see is this hashtag. This hashtag here means this group is public. Any channel you see hashtag, it means it is public. But if you see something like a padlock, we don't have any private channel here. But if there was a private channel here, what you will see instead of this hashtag is a padlock. So once you see a padlock there, it means that the channel is a private channel. Now, if you check out this channel, if you see this line I am crossing here, you see that there is nothing at this edge here. This simply means that everybody in this channel, every single person in this channel, are people that actually belong to this organization. It is assumed that everybody in this random channel, this general channel, they are people working in this very organization. Because like I said earlier on, the entire Slack that we are working on now is assumed to be a particular company. So everybody who are in this very channel are staff of this company. Now come up rather to this announcement and training room. You'll find out that there is something like a double diamond sign here. Can you see? This simply means these persons joined this channel through their own Slack organizations group, through their workspace. In other words, this person, Joan Eze, and this person, you can see IT support training practice session. These are people that have created their own different Slack channels, but they now joined using their own Slack channel. You understand what I'm trying to explain? So unlike others that just joined when they just saw the link and then they had to start signing up from the scratch, this person already signed up for Slack using their channel, and then they joined the Slack with their own channel instead of joining as a fresh person. I don't know if that's understood. I haven't said that. We come down to this. You can see my cursor here. This cursor here points at November class test. And if I click on it, it gives me details of this particular organization, because this is the organization we are working with. This is what the name of our group is. It is assumed to be the name of the organization. November class test running. I was made to understand that this Slack was created by one of us called Philip. So when Philip created this Slack group, he named it November class test running. So by extension, from what we learned from the beginning, Philip is the owner of this very November class test running, and is assumed to be the owner of this company. So every other person who is joining as either a partner or is joining as a staff in Philip's company. I hope you understand that. Now, under this very November, ordinarily, if there was to be a logo, we could have put in that here. Philip will have taken care of that. That is why a logo can always go in here. Now, under this November class test running, you see something like November class -9 RJ and so slack.com. This is the URL. This is the URL. What I'm highlighting now is the URL of this very organization in terms of its Slack workspace. What do I mean? If I copy this URL, for instance, I don't know how to find my way back to this place, probably because I signed out of this workspace. I don't know how to find my way back, but I have this URL. Once I copy it and I go to paste it on my web browser, the URL will automatically open this workspace for me, and then I can find myself back here, and then I begin to work again in this company. So that is that for that. Most features that we will be using here are pro features, because we are on trial, and that is why you are seeing what I have here, that the pro trial will end by December 8th. So we are lucky that we can use all the features to explain everything we have on Slack. Now, down here, we can invite people to this very organization. So I can invite anybody. Once I have their name, their email address. Now, this is how it works. If we eventually start getting jobs on Upwork, this is what the organization will do. The organization will have their own Slack, and then once they have approved you to be a part of their team, they'll simply get your email, and then they would log in your email into this, they plug in your email into this space, and then they invite you as a member or as a guest. Do you understand? And then to invite as a guest, like you're seeing here, you need to be on premium. That's a paid version. Or they can invite you if you have your own Slack organization already. They can invite you to join with your own organization. And then when you eventually join, that is when you begin to see this double diamond sign here, wherever they ask you to join. So once they send you an email, you receive a notification in your inbox, and then you click on that notification in your inbox, and then it brings you to join this particular company's team. So that is how you find your way once you are employed. They send you their link. That was why Equi was telling us previously that you don't need to create your own Slack, just know how it works, and then the company will do all the creation and simply add you up to the team. So this is what she actually meant. And if I don't have the person's email, and I probably have the person's Gmail, for instance, I could just click on this G Suite to get the person's information that has been provided to me. And all the same, once I have that, I click on send. Another way I could go around this is if I want to just send the person the link to join this very company, I just click on copy invite link and I forward the link to the person. Once the person clicks on the link, which was what many of us got, once you click on the link, it brings you to this place, asks you to sign up some certain things, and you're in. So that is that for invitation. That is how to invite people. The next thing you want to see is how to create a channel. If you have been given the rights to, of course, as a member of the organization, you can always create a channel. You click on create channel. You can always name the channel. If it is a private channel, it goes with the hash sign. You give the channel any name of your choice, and then once you have named the channel, you give the channel a description, which is optional. You tell people so that when people come to the channel and they want to know about the channel, they have something to read up. So you give the channel the description, and then this is where you decide whether you want to make the channel a private channel or a public channel. If I toggle this on, you can see it has changed to a padlock. It means this channel is now a private channel. And once you create a private channel, you cannot revert it to a public channel. So you want to be very sure that you're creating a private channel. This is how it works if admins are creating different channels for different departments. So if I am creating a channel, say for sales department, I'm supposed to make it private so that only those in sales department can have access to this channel. If it's a marketing department, the same thing. So that is how it is for various departments. And that is what it entails for the creation of channels. Of course, you can also share your workspace with other companies or other persons that are not part of these organizations. You can share this channel. Once you've created this, you can share the channel with people outside the organizations. That was exactly what happened that made these people join with their own Slack group. So that is that for creation of channel. We return back here and we set our preferences. So once we click on preferences is what gives you the leverage to set up your own Slack view. In as much as you are working for a particular organization, sorry, excuse me, it seems somebody joined us and I've been keeping the person waiting. Okay, there's nobody there. All right, in as much as you were invited to join a particular workspace or a particular organization Slack group, you also have the right to set up the way you want your Slack to look in your own screen. Now this is where you can set that up. You can set up how you receive notifications. You can decide how do you want to receive notification. Is it that you want all messages to be popping up whenever you receive a message, you want to receive a notification, or you only want to receive notification when there is a direct message and when there is a message where your name was mentioned, or where there is a message where there is a particular keyword that you have used already in a particular workspace. Once that keyword has been used, then you want to get a notification on it. You can always select this option, or you don't want any notification at all, you go for nothing. You can also decide to use different settings for your mobile devices. In other words, because I am working on my PC, any notification I'm getting on Slack will come onto the PC, not to my phone. But I can also set it such that when I am not active on my PC, how do I want to receive notification on my mobile phone? This is where you get to set that. So you can, once you click on this, it will bring options for the mobile phone settings. So I click on this. Do you want to receive all new messages on your mobile phone, or you want to receive direct messages and mentions and keywords, or you just want no message at all, that you don't want any message to be received? You set that up. So if I decide to go with direct messages, it means, and I leave this to be ticked, it means once I am logged out of my PC, all messages that mentions my name, or messages that are directed to me, just as you can see, I will come to that later, or messages that have keywords that I've used, will always pop up on my screen. Now this will only work if you have installed Slack on your mobile device. If you have not, then you will not get this option working for you. Other things, you can always browse down through these very options to see other things that you can configure on your own Slack end. Notify me when a huddle starts. I'll show us what a huddle means. Notify me about replies on thread that I'm following. I'll show us what that means. So you can always play around this at your own time. You can also set when or what time you want to receive notification. You know, when you're working for an organization or when you're employed, you can decide that if you are not active during your work hours, you don't want to receive any disturbance. So you can always set that here, that you only get notification only when you are working, and set the time, set the days, and you're good to go. The same thing with the sound and the rest of them. Other things are very easy to go by. Now the next one here is sidebar. Sidebar. When you talk about sidebar in Slack, you're referring to this portion. You can see where my mouse, the cursor of my mouse is. Everything here is your sidebar. So you want to decide what and what shows up on your sidebar. The same thing is very easy to configure. Everything that I have ticked here is actually what I am seeing on my sidebar. As you can see, all channels, all unread messages. So it means any messages that I have that is unread will show up here. I will get a notification on it. Mentions and reactions, anywhere my name was mentioned or anywhere a reaction on my post was made, I will get a notification here. Saved items, you can see that somewhere up. You will see that very soon when we go up here. It's under this very column. Channel browser, you can also find that somewhere around here. Apps, you'll find that you can see apps up here. So anything I decide to tick here under my sidebar will automatically be what I will be seeing here. So by extension, if there are things I don't want to or I don't have interest in here, I can just untick them and then it goes off. The same thing happens if you scroll down. Now under themes, these are just the ways you can decide to configure your Slack. You can either synchronize with the operating system you have. Some of us are using MacBook. I am presently using a HP Windows PC. So you can just click on this so that Slack automatically synchronizes or gives you the best theme for your PC operating system. Or you can decide to use any of these that we have here. You can decide to change it to dark mode, or light mode or whatever it is, as the case may be. But if you are to do this, you have to untick this first. But for me, I just have to leave it with the synchronized mode. Under colors, you can decide how you want your Slack to look like. You have various options here. All these are what we can do on our own. No much talk here. Messages and media. How do you want to configure your messages and the media you receive? That is the videos, the messages, and everything you receive on your Slack, either in the channel or directly. You can always configure all that here. All these are just what you decide. It doesn't have anything to do with your company or anything of such. The same thing with the language and region. You want to set up how you want your Slack to pop up, the language, and please ensure that this is automatically set to your time zone. Accessibility. How do you want your Slack to look like when you are on your screen? You want the screen to be bigger? You can decide to go for larger numbers, or you want to set it to default so that it fits exactly your screen. Underline links to websites. Everything under preference here is just use your discretion. That is the implication. Just the way you want it to be set, that is what you can do under preference. Mark as read. Everything, like I said, all is in your own power. Privacy and visibility. And then under advanced here, you can also set whatever it is that you want. Input options. I don't want us to spend so much time here so that we can finish on time. Just like I said, once you're done with the settings, you can always close it up. Again, to get back to that privacy setting, click on November class test running and come down to preference here. Now the next thing we want to look at is administration. Under administration, you can customize this organization and you can manage apps. Now this, to customize, most of those things under administration is left to the discretion of the original owner of this group. However, once I click on customize, it will take me to another web browser. Once I click on this customize, it will take me to a web browser. Let's see what is opening up. You can see it's opening up in this web browser, and then it gives me leverage. It's actually loading. I don't want to take our time. It gives me leverage to customize some things. The same thing works with manage apps. It also leads me to the web browser where I have the right to manage apps. You can see this is what we clicked on the first time, and this is the manage app. You can see customize emoji and the rest of them, and this is manage app. So this basically gives us the right to install or integrate apps into our Slack space. It's loading quite slowly, so I'll just ignore that and come back to that later. So mostly the owner of this group, that is Philip in this case, is the person who has the most right over what we have here. However, we also have a level of right which I think Philip actually granted from the beginning of creation of this group. So you could just play around that at your own time. Under tools, we have workflow builder and we have analytics. Workflow builder is something that we can use to configure our various channels. It actually works when you are an admin of a channel. In other words, when you are the one that created a channel. I don't know why everything here is just popping up slowly. Now, this is the workflow builder. Workflow builder basically helps us to configure automated messages. That is what it does. For instance, I built these two workflow builders here. Three actually. These three workflow builders here. And how do we do that? Let's open one of them and see what it does. What does workflow builder do for you? It enables you to attend to people in your absence. It's just like an automated message. For instance, I'll show us just how we create a workflow builder in a few minutes from now. This particular workflow builder says, welcome a new member to the general room. What does it mean? That this is what happens when a new person enters this group, general group. That is exactly what happens when somebody just joins the group. This was what I set up. Starts when someone joins general. You can see that's the instruction. In other words, it means trigger this very automation once anybody, a new person, joins the general channel. And what is the automation? Send a message to the person who joined. In other words, this person who joined, the bot, that is the robot of Slack, will pick the name that you provided when you signed up on Slack. So the person will receive the automated message. And what's the automated message that was set here? The automated message says hello. This variable user means the name of the person that joined. Hello, say hello, Andrew or something, comma, welcome to variable channel. This variable channel is the name of the channel that was joined. So you have something like hello Andrew, welcome to general. Do well to read up the pinned message so you are not left out from vital information. And then I also created a thank you button here. So it means that once Andrew joins this new group general, he receives this message and this button is available for him. Now if Andrew goes ahead to click on this thank you button, the next automation is triggered. And what is the next automation? The instruction says send a message to the person who joined. In this case, it is still Andrew. So what is the message? Because Andrew clicked on thank you, the bot will respond with what? You are welcome. And then that ends.
Marcel.
Yes?
Sorry, I think I'm lost because what I'm still seeing is just the general interface. I can't see every other thing. I can't even see your cursor where it's going to.
You can't see my screen? What I'm showing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can anybody else see my screen? Confirm, please.
Yes.
You can see what I'm showing you, right?
Yes.
I mean, you can see this this workflow builder.
Yes, I can see it clearly.
Then I don't know, the lady who just complained, I think it's your network. It's your network. Please confirm.
Okay.
Are you with us now?
Not yet, but go ahead. I will tell you that.
All right.
No.
So this is the end of the workflow builder. Once I send back the message you are welcome, it ends. I can as well edit any of this workflow builder if I want to. Now, activity. Under activity, you can see the activity here, because I am still under this very automation, this very workflow builder. Welcome a new member to the general room. Now, this activity tells me how it has been used in the group. As you can see, it says it's in progress as at 9:30 p.m. today. It was in progress as at 8:42. So this activity just tells us how it has been used over time since you built it. And then you can also filter whatever activity you decide to find as far as the workflow builder is concerned. And then under the settings basically, I don't know, I'm confused. Is somebody talking to me? Please, if you're not communicating, kindly turn off your mic so that I don't get distracted. Under settings here, you can see this was how it was set up. You have the title, welcome a new member to the group. I can edit it if I want to. You have the icon, which I can also edit. The collaborators, that is those who can edit this workflow. I didn't set
Sorry,
up
Marcel.
Yes.
Well, what I'm seeing is still general on your laptop.
What could I? Can somebody else confirm, please? Can somebody else confirm?
That's the same thing I was complaining about.
Yes, I just
something I
have
was
to
telling you
check
about.
very well. It's general me I'm still seeing now.
That's what I've been thinking.
All right, let me walk around it. Can you still see this? You're still seeing general?
Yes, I'm seeing your
Now
mouse
I
now.
can see random. It's moving now.
Okay.
It's moving now. Random now.
Okay. So let me go back to where I was. What can you see now?
Random.
Random.
Still at random. Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, let me change this. Let me change this. Um, okay. All right, can everyone see my screen? I don't usually like this particular. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
All right, so let me take it back to. Let me take it back to. So can you see my screen now?
Yes, random.
Okay. What about now? What can you see?
Welcome a new member to general room.
Are you seeing a different screen? Welcome a new member to general
Yes,
room.
welcome a new member. Yes.
All right,
Yes.
so we are good now. Somebody else is saying something. Is somebody else saying something? So can we continue?
Yes.
All right. So under icon, this is a default icon for workflow builder, and I can change it if I have another icon I want to place there. Collaborators talks about the people who can edit this particular workflow builder that I built. I can give anybody permission to edit it, and I can as well delete the workflow builder. So the same thing applies to other workflow builders, or other workflows rather. Other workflow. This is another workflow. This one works, or this one is triggered when a new member joins training channel, which is this channel, training room. This one is triggered to welcome a new member generally, and this one is the team stand up. This one was set up if we have a meeting in the group. I don't want to go through all that. So how do we create a workflow? We come over here and click on create. Are we together? And then I can give it a name. I can, just like I gave it a name here, I can say announcement. I can say announcement, and then I click on next. As you can see, it says we have different workflows here. Do I want to create a shortcut? You could always read the things we have under here. Someone selects the workflow from the available shortcut. You want to create a shortcut, you want to create a new channel member, that is, it should be, these are just when should this workflow be triggered. That is what this is. Should it be triggered when there is a shortcut that was initiated? Should it be triggered when a new member joins? Should it be triggered when someone adds a specific emoji into a channel? Should it be triggered to set a time, or when someone sets a time and sets a date for this, or anytime you decide for this workflow to be triggered, you select that here. So the easiest one is what I was showing us earlier on. You trigger it when there is a new member joining the channel. I can as well set up for an emoji reaction. Which channel, once you follow it gradually, it's not difficult. Which channel do you want this emoji to operate, or this workflow rather to operate? I can say let it operate in random channel. Which emoji reaction do I want to trigger this workflow? I decide. Once I click on add reaction, it gives me options. I decide whenever this reaction is sent to random channel, trigger this workflow. That's what it means. I click on next, and then it's here. We come down to the workflow builder itself. Now this workflow builder has not been set up yet, mind us. It only says that this workflow will be triggered when someone uses this smiley or this green in the random channel. But then what should happen when somebody uses this emoji in random channel? What should happen? We are now the one to tell this workflow builder what should happen. You click on add setup, and then you decide what should happen These are just options. You can decide to send a message once the person sends that emoji to random group, or you can decide to send a form. These are just common sense things that is just something that you can do by playing around with logic. Now it has to make sense even to you creating it. For instance, just as we are creating, if I send, it could happen, and mind you, whatever you create as far as this workflow is concerned, it would work whether you mean it or not. Once it's activated automatically, it means if somebody accidentally sends that emoji to random group, whether the person did it by mistake or not, this workflow will be triggered instantly. So if I set it such a way that somebody sends that emoji and I say send a message, for instance, I'll add send a message, and then it asks me send this message to who. I click on this and then it gives me option. Who do I want to send the message to? Is it to the channel? That means everybody in the group or in that channel will receive the message I want to configure. Or do I want to send the message to the person who sent that reaction, that emoji? Or do I want to send a message to the particular thread? That is, I will create a reply under the person's message. That is under that emoji that the person created. I will create a reply thread under it and send this message to the person. Or you send a message to the person who sent the original message. This emoji is a reaction that is usually used to affirm or show our reaction towards a particular message. So you are saying that send this message to the original messenger, that is the person who created the post that made the person smile. I hope you understand that. So we can decide who do we want this message to go to. I can say send it to the person who reacted. So this is just common sense. And what is the message you want to send to the person? I can decide and say to ask the person, why are you laughing? Mind you, this is just a tutorial. Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing? Just a question I want to ask the person. And then what do? I can decide to insert a variable. If I want to include the person's name, I can say why are you laughing, whatever it is. I'll insert a variable. I come down here and insert a variable. This variable now gives me the privilege to call out the person by his name or call out the channel. So like I said, it has to follow a logical process. Why are you laughing? What's the best thing that can fit into the variable here? Is it why are you laughing random? That does not make sense because this is the channel that the reaction was used in. Or the person who reacted, that means the message will go like this. Why are you laughing? The name of the person. This one makes sense. Or do I want to say why are you laughing? The reaction added. I cannot say why, it doesn't make any sense. Or do I want to say why are you laughing? The link to message reacted on, So you have to decide which one makes sense to you, the person creating the workflow. The essence of this, it might look a little cumbersome, but the essence of this is just so that you can easily create automated messages if you have your own. Mostly it is the admins that have all these privileges or the right or the time to create all this. But if you find yourself in an organization where you have to work with multiple persons in a particular department, this might be useful to you to help you out when you're not online. That is why I'm taking you all through this. So the best fit for this is, say, the person who reacted. So what does this mean? That this message, when it is triggered, will send this message to the person who reacted. If the person that reacted is, say, Andrew, the message that will be sent to him is, why are you laughing, Andrew? And why was this sent to Andrew? Remember, it was sent because Andrew sent a smiley reaction to the group. And then you can include a button if you want. And what would the button say? Continue, or you can give it a name, anything at all. You either continue or I am laughing. You can configure a message such that the person will click on the button. But if you don't find any need for that, you can do it with the button. And then you preview. This preview means this is how the message will come to the person. Why are you laughing, Andrew, in this case? Because you're using Andrew as the name. Once I'm sure this is what I want to send to the person, I can say save. And then it goes back to the workflow. You can see, so like its name implies, it's a flow. So Andrew sends this to random group, and then automatically he received this message. Why are you laughing, Andrew? And then I can continue on and on and on and on like that to set up as many workflow as I want. And once I'm done creating all that, I can always come back to edit it if I feel there is a need to do that. And once I'm done creating, I click on publish. As soon as I publish this workflow is automatically created in random group. So anytime anybody sends this emoji to random group, it triggers this workflow, and then it asks this person, it asks whoever it is that sent this emoji this question: why are you laughing? And then it calls out the person's name. But mind you, because you have set it to be that the person is the person who is the receiver, you can see it here, send the message to the receiver. That means only the person who laughed will see this message. That's the meaning. But if I had configured this message to be sent to the entire channel, it means the entire channel will see me asking whoever I fit in here, why are you laughing? So like I said, it's something that you will need your jurisdiction or your logic to guide you in creating. So once I'm done, I click on publish, and that is that for workflow. We are done with workflow. And then after then, you can always come back here to see how it has been used over time. Under activity, you will see how the workflow has been triggered over time. And under settings, you can come here to set whoever it is that you want to edit the workflow, or how you work the workflow. You want to rename the workflow and change the icon, or you want to delete the workflow altogether. In this case, I want to just delete it because I'm not using it for anything. So that is that, and then the workflow is out. So that is that for workflow. Another thing is, if you have created a workflow already somewhere, you can always click on import to import the workflow if you don't want to start creating the workflow afresh. If there is one you already have, you can always import it from wherever you have created it. You can as well use the templates that are available. You can see there is a warm welcome for new teammates. You can set it up if you want. A way to try request, you can set it up. A status update for the team, you can set it up. So if you understand what workflow does, you should understand all these that we have discussed here. So that's that for workflow. We go back to this place and we come down to tools. Under tools, we have analytics. Analytics basically gives you an overview of how the whole Slack is being used. So this is usually the work of the technical guys. They want to understudy or get some factual numbers or statistics on how people have been working. This is where they get all that from, under analytics. I don't want to spend much time there. You want to sign out of your Slack, you can always do that here, or just like we did, you can always come up here to check it out. Now you want to add your workspace. You can either sign into another workspace. Mind you, when I talk about workspace, as far as Slack is concerned, it simply means another company, another organization, or another brand entirely. So if I am working for, say, another company, for some of us who will be working for more than one companies, this is and the two companies have their own Slack. You can always sign into another company's Slack, and then once you are signed in, you can come up here. Once you click on this place, you will see the option of the various companies you are working for. You just simply click on the one that you want to work with at a particular point in time. Another thing is, you can create your own workspace, which means your own brand or your own company altogether. Or you can find workspaces. If you have their emails or their username, you can always find people's workspace under here. So that is that for this particular menu. By the side here is a menu for write message. If I click on it, it opens up an interface here. As you can see, it says message, new message. You want to send new message to who? You can decide to send a new message to a channel. As you can see right in front of here, once I click on hash, the various channel in this workspace will pop up. In other words, I want to send a message to a channel. That is the only thing that will make me click on hash. Or do I want to send a message to a particular person? If I want to send a message to a particular person, I will use the @ symbol to call out the name of the people that are on this Slack group. Or any other thing. If I have a particular email of the person who I want to call out. I'll just type in the person's email, and then the person pops up, and then I can send the person a message. All that is clear. And if you want to send a message outside your company, this is where you do that. You DM outside your company. Once you click on that, you can send a message to somebody outside your organization's Slack. So that is that for messaging. We come down to app. Under app here, we get access to the apps that have been integrated to our Slack space here. Presently, we have just Google Calendar, Google Drive, Zoom, Meet for Slack, and Monday.com integrated in this Slack space. Meaning you can get into your Zoom meeting from this Slack. You can get into your Google Calendar from this Slack. You can get into your Google Drive from this Slack. And you can upload things into this Slack directly from your Google Drive. That is what it means. You can conduct a meeting on Zoom through your Slack. So you don't need to log out of Slack to start going to Zoom to start organizing the meeting. You can simply click on Zoom because it has already been integrated. Once you click on Zoom, it will ask for your details, and then you can start off a meeting from there. If you want to work on Monday.com, you can just click on it here, and then I'll show us how to integrate all this. Down here are softwares that have not been integrated into this Slack space. Mind you, it was somebody that integrated all this. I particularly integrated this Google Drive, Google Calendar, Meet for Slack, and Monday.com. I integrated this, but I think someone else integrated Zoom here. So anybody can actually integrate anything. If I want to integrate Trello into this, I'll just click on add, and then it automatically begins to give me some prompts. I follow the prompt, and until I have succeeded in giving all the necessary details, this Trello will now appear here, meaning it has also been integrated into the Slack that we are working with. So this is how companies basically integrate softwares that you need to use in their own company. Same thing with Outlook, Calendar, Dropbox, OneDrive, and the rest of them. You cannot even Gmail for Slack and always integrate that. And it does not mean that everybody will have access to your Google Drive. No, it simply means anybody can open their own space through this app that has been integrated. That is what it means. If you want to browse for more, perhaps you can't find the one you need here, you can always come down here and browse for app directory. It will take you to what looks like a marketplace for all the apps, and then you can search for the app you want to search for and then integrate. That is that for apps. We look out for more. We have all DMs. All DMs, as the name implies, you want to see all the messages that people have sent to you. You want to see file browser. This file browser simply means it also almost does the same work as your search button here. It's just simple. You want to search for the things that have been posted, whether images. You can see these are the images I have posted in the Slack group, particularly the training group, I guess. So this is where you browse for files, videos, audios, voice notes, pictures, everything that has been sent on this Slack space. You can always get it from files, and if you downloaded it, you see it right there. This is how you can filter what you are looking for. If there are so many files that have been sent, you can always filter them. If it is the one that you sent to Slack, you can always click on your name, or the files that are in a particular channel, you can click on channel and DM. It will bring out only the files that are in the particular channel, or you sort it by the name or the type of file. And of course, you can as well upload a file to the Slack space if you want to. That is that for files. And then peoples and user groups. These are just the various people that are in this Slack space, the members of this Slack space, the whole 140 persons. You can always find all of them right here. And then if you want to invite more people, you can use this button here to invite people. Or you want to see user groups, you can click on user groups to see the various groups that have been created. Presently, we do not have any group created for this very Slack team. So we go back to file. I think we're done with this part. The next thing is the connections. Under connections, we have announcements, we have training room. Connection simply means where people from other organizations have joined a particular channel of your Slack group. So these are the only two places where people from other organizations have joined us. This person here is from a different organization. That is why you can see her name popping up here and the diamond symbol here. This Joanne Eze joined the announcement channel. This very other person from a different organization entirely joined the training room. That is why they all come under connection. Any other thing you want to see under connection would fall right here. And then you can also decide to add people from other organizations. You want to invite them. You click on add, and then you either create a channel for them so that they don't end up joining the channel of your own organization, or you can start a message for the connection group that you want to send a message. If I click on start a message, you can just pop up the person's email. That is the email of the person from another organization. Mind you, it says DM somebody at another company. So once the person is sent, once you compose the email address here, you send the invitation, the person clicks on that link that the email sends, and then you'll find the person under this connection here. Now under channel, we already said channels are like groups, what we refer to as WhatsApp group. That is what is the equivalent of Slack channels. And properly speaking, Slack channels are like departments. They are like subgroups in a particular organizations. So all these are, we have general, random, workspace, and we can also create another channel if we want. Create channel or browse channel. Now in some organizations that you join, they might have a lot of channels popped up right here, and you do not want to start searching or scrolling down. All you need to do is just click on add channel. Under add channel, you click on browse all channels. Once you click on it, it brings out the list of all the channels that are in this particular workspace. And if there is a particular one that you wish to do something in very quickly, and perhaps that channel is somewhere down your bar, you can just type the name of the channel here, start with a hash. Once you start with a hash, you type the name of the channel and the channel pops up, or you simply type the name of the channel, you get to see the channel. So that's how you call up channels very quickly. Direct message. Under direct message, this simply is message or are messages that you have with people one-on-one. Unlike these ones here, these are messages that you see that are sent to groups. But particularly here, what you'll be seeing here are messages that people have sent to you in person. I don't want to open it up because these are individuals, confidential messages that I have here. So these are messages that people have sent to you directly. So you can always get that under DM. That's what we call DM most of the time. And of course, you can decide to add multiple persons who are not on the, you want to send a direct message to somebody else. You can either call up the person's Gmail, invite the person to have a discussion, a one-on-one discussion with you, and then you send the person a message. Mind you, this is for people, invite people to, this is the people outside your Slack group. I want to get them first via a direct message. Under apps, we already dealt with that. These are all the apps that have been integrated. And here this is what I call Huddle. Huddle simply means an audio conversation. This particular thing that looks like an antenna here, this is what we can use to have a quick audio conversation. It's particularly created for instant discussion where we don't want to start scheduling meeting. Say for instance, we want to have a quick gossip. I can just create a huddle. It's just the same thing as calling somebody, but in a case like this, you can actually have more than one person in a huddle. So if I want to, for instance, you can see what I have here is general, and that's because I'm under general group or general channel. So if I want to create a huddle, I want to have a quick discussion where we don't need to see each other's face or we don't need to present anything, for instance, I can start a huddle, and anybody under general here can join the huddle. Are we together? Anybody under general can join the huddle. So this year we can just quickly have a brief discussion, and then people get to join. Now under messaging, let me quickly take something under messaging. Under messaging, this is where you can send messages. This particular place where my mouse is, or the cursor is, you can send messages right here. If I send any message here now, the message goes to everybody. That is, everybody under general will see the message. If I want to send a message to random, the same thing. Now look at this shortcut here. I want to begin from this part. If I click on this shortcut here, what does it help me do? I can start a call with Slack. What it means is, if I start a call, this is different from Huddle, mind you. If I start a call with Slack, it means anybody in this general group can join the call, and it can be an audio call and it can be a video call. So the difference between this call and this audio here is that this one can be scheduled for, just like we scheduled for this particular meeting. We can actually have this conversation here in this general group. Or why this one rather is just an instantaneous discussion. We want to have a quick discussion. Maybe we decide to talk about how Equi taught, or what Equi taught in the morning session of today's class. Just a brief discussion that somebody just initiated. We want to get on the call quickly that we didn't plan for. We can use Huddle for that. And then all these are just shortcuts. Shortcut, if I want to expand something, you don't need all these, except you want to cram all these shortcuts in your own brain. Other things that you can do with these is you can invite someone to this channel. You can see all that here. All these basically are quite shortcut. Now if I want to, say, create a document, as you can see here, I want to call up something from my Google Drive. All these are apps that have been installed, mind you. All these are apps that have been installed in this Slack. I want to call out something from a Google Calendar or Google Drive. I want to upload something from my Google Drive to this Workspace, this very Slack. I can just click on Google Drive. It will take me to my Google Drive. I will take out what I need from there and share it to this Slack space. Or if it is something I want to do, I want to create a meeting on Zoom, I can do that directly through these shortcuts that we have here. That is that for shortcuts. Another thing I want to quickly drop as a message is this. There are some 3 shortcuts that I want to drop to us, or for us here. The first one is if we want to send a message to everyone, such that any message, because mind you, I'm in a group, general group, everyone would receive this message once I click on at everyone. These are just simple shortcuts that we might be interested in. You can see it here. It says notify everyone in your workspace. Once I agree to that, it means any message I type after now, every single person in this group, the whole 146 people in this group, will get this message I am typing. That is the first thing. Now if I change this everyone to here, you can see it means notify every online member. Only those who are online as at the time I sent this message will get this particular notification. How do we use this? For instance, you are in a company and you are stuck with a problem, or you need an information from any member of your company and you don't know who is online or who is not online. You can just come to your department here, if it's something that concerns the department, and type at here, and any message you type, say, does anybody know what time the MD asked us to join the group meeting? You can just type that here, and anybody who is online presently will simply reply you. It means this message will trigger a notification to anybody who is presently online. Why for everyone? It means everybody will receive the message. These are just simple shortcuts that you might, there are so many of them, but that is that for the shortcut. Now if you come under here, many of us here have been typing for quite some time. If you want to make bold what you are typing, you click on this. You want to italicize it. If you want to strike through, all these are what we are familiar with in our Office, Microsoft Office, and the rest of them. You want to create a link, attach a link, and the rest of it. Now up here you want to mention somebody's name. If I click on this, it automatically calls out the name of everybody in this group. So this one simply means you are sending a message to the group, quite all right, but you are calling the attention of a particular person. For instance, I want to send a message to the group and I want to notify Aisha to say something about what I have said. I'll click on Aisha's name and then I send a message. So the message does two things. The message sends or goes to the group, everybody in the group sees the message, but Aisha is specifically called out. Either that I want to say something or I want her to respond to something based on what I have said or to back up something. That is basically how we mention people with our messages. This one is our emoji smiley. This is for file. You want to add anything to this part. Mind you, whatever message you are sending, be sure that you are sending it to the right place or the right person. Always check up here to be sure that the message you are sending is to the right group, especially when you are a member of a multiple group. This is for this is for attachment. You want to attach a file, or you want to upload a file from your Google Drive, or you want to upload a file directly from your computer. This is where you can do that with an attached file. And right here you want to create a video clip. This is not a video call, please mind you. You want to create a video clip, you want to create an audio clip, you can always do that right here. And once you are done typing what you want to type, you click on this button to send now, or you can schedule when you want the message to go. So if it is not something you want to send now, you can schedule the time when you want the message to go. Just click on custom time and then you have the time to send the message. So that is that for messaging. Another thing I want to call our attention to is how we can actually create calls within group. I can actually make a call. Say for instance, in this group, we can place a video call. We can make a video call in this group, which is something I already showed us earlier on. I can start a call with Slack and then everybody in this group. So instead of actually going to Google Meet to have our conversation, which this present training, I can actually have that conversation right here on Slack. When I start the call, I can make it a video call or an audio call. But there is a downside to this. The downside is this: those who are using the mobile phone might not have access if I want to start presenting. Now look at this. Let me start a call so that we can. I hope I'm not speaking to myself. Can we all hear me?
Yes,
hello? All right. So if I'm starting a call, for instance, this is an access. This is a special access to Slack group call. Now I can decide to I can mute myself. It's just like a Zoom call. Do you understand? I can share my screen. Now this is where it gets tricky. If I decide to share my screen, if I use this Slack to share my screen, only those who are viewing or joining this meeting from their phones, from their laptop, can actually see my screen. Now this was something that we actually practicalized in the last training session. We decided to use this very room, the training room, for our presentation. The moment I started sharing my screen, a lot of persons started complaining that they couldn't see anything. And then somebody out of those who were complaining that they couldn't see anything switched from her phone to her PC, and instantly she was able to see everything I was presenting. Meanwhile, those who were still on their phone kept complaining that they could not see anything. So this is because Slack has not integrated this very feature for their phone or their mobile app. However, the way you can actually get a way around it, and that is by using your phone browser. Log into your Slack, set your phone browser to the desktop view, and then when you set your mobile browser to desktop view, you can now view Slack as if you are on a computer, so that anything that is being shared via a PC, it can reflect rather on the computer. So once you create a call, you can decide to add people to the call, and you can as well check out the settings to be sure that everything is in proper place. And once you're done, you can leave the conversation. So that is how you can see you can leave the conversation. So that is how you can create a call on Slack. We are actually almost done with everything. So everything that we have explained here is what we will find in this hamburger sign. Unlike the first time when I took this course, I started from here and I started explaining everything that I just explained to us. So in this case, I took it the other way around. I explained from the back down to this point. So if you come to this hamburger sign here, once you click on it, you click on File, you begin to see everything we have talked about. You want to create a new message. It is the same thing as what we talked about here. You can see it here. Still go back to File. You want to create a new channel. It is the same thing as Add Channels here. You want to create a new workspace. You want to sign into another organization's workspace. You want to create a different workspace entirely. It is the same thing as what we discussed right here under this place. Add workspace. You can see it's the same thing that we have here. You want to invite people, it's the same thing that we get under that workspace. The same thing we get under workspace, invite people. You want to, set up your preference, how your Slack looks on your own PC. That is what we have here, and you can always set it up right here. You can see it, preference. You want to check out other things, settings and administration. Settings and administration, where you manage app, customize, analytics. That was what we did when we came down here under administration. You can see it, administration, manage app, customize. Still under tools, you can see analytics. Everything is just, so basically what we have right here, this hamburger sign, is just a shortcut to navigate everything on this Slack. So if you are lost and you cannot find your way around this Slack, all you need to do is just come up here, click on File, and then you can begin to play around everything you have here. So this is just like a summarized version of the workaround of Slack. The same thing under Edit, Undo and Redo is what we have here. This backward here is undo, this forward here is redo. Under Edit again, you want to cut something, you want to copy, you want to paste. All those are what you can do. And then you want to learn all the shortcuts so that you don't have to start looking for one thing or the other. All the shortcuts on Slack, you can always get them here if you're good at cramming. You want to reload the whole of this Slack. Probably your Slack is hanging and then you need to restart it. You can just click on Reload to restart. And if it's hanging so bad, you can force it to reload. You can toggle full screen. I want to get what I have here is just my full screen of Slack. You can decide to hide this sidebar. Once I click on this, everything on this sidebar will go off, and then I would have an extension of this part covering my full screen. You want to set back actual size, zoom in. All this was what I was showing us when I said you want to increase the size of your screen and all that. Under Go, we have switch to channel. You want to switch between channels. You want to view all messages that have been sent to you. You want to check out all the places that you have indicated interest. These are threads. All these things are what you find on your sidebar. You can see threads. You can see all on red. So everything under Go here, you can see everything under Go here is what you have on your sidebar. Everything under Go here, everything switch to channel, all red, draft, everything is what you have on your sidebar. So Go typically is your sidebar. It's just a shortcut to your sidebar. History, we have this back and forward is this that we have here, back and forward, and then this history is basically this clock sign is history. Back is this that we have here, and then forward is this that we have here. Training room, general. So basically this gives you link to the 5 most recent things that you have called out on here. You get it under history. Now this redo and undo, is used when probably you make a mistake and you want to go back to what you were doing before. You use undo. Redo, you went back and you felt that it's not a mistake, you want to continue to where you were before, you redo. So that is what it is. Windows, this one signs you into another company's workspace. And lastly, help, which is the same thing as what we have here, simply links you to either check for a new Slack update, or you want to go to the shortcut of the Slack, you want to troubleshoot what's with your Slack, you want to talk to customer service, or whatever it is that you want to know about Slack, you can always come down to help. So with this, we are done with our Slack training. We spent almost an hour 38 minutes. So we are done. I'll just give rooms for a few questions and then we'll call it a night. I hope you're still with me. Am I talking to myself?
Yes, we are. No, you're not.
All right. So, are there any questions that we would want to ask?
Yes.
All right.
I want to ask a question, please.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, thank you for the tutorial. I just want to ask, this Slack tool now, by the time we are working in the company, are we the one that would, are we the one, all these things that we are seeing, are they going to still be the same, or the company customizes the Slack the way they want it? Or it will just be the same, the way we are taught like this?
So basically, it will be the same. And if there would be any difference, it will be just an additional, it will not be an additional feature per se, that like an all new feature altogether. No, it's just be like an extension. For instance, I said, if you look here, if you look up here, you can see it says your pro trial lasts through December 8th. So once this pro trial elapses, there are some certain things I might not be able to do with it again with this Slack. A typical example is I will not be able to bring people on a call where I will now be able to bring everybody into this. But when you see when I put everybody on a call and I was showing my presentation on a call, all those are paid features. So if I didn't have this trial version, I will not be able to use that paid feature where I can show my screen to show a presentation. So I will only be limited to a one-on-one call. I will not be able to permit people to join my call. So not more than one person can join. So for a company will have subscribed so that I can have all these features activated. But basically, it will be the same thing altogether. No much difference.
Okay, thank you.
It seems every other person are asleep. So if there are no other questions, I'll just call it a night. All right, I take it that there is no further question. All right, thank you for joining. Have a good night rest.
Thank you for today's class. God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.